Gentlemen, welcome to the Prime Dude. Again, another episode. I'm your host, Rob Edwards, and today we're talking Ledbury dress shirts. That's right, Ledbury shirts, founded in 2009. I'm going to get into all the details, but as you know, I'm a bit obsessed with men's clothing, and I'm obsessed with putting men's clothing to the test. I've ordered and been wearing a number of Ledbury shirts over the past about 18 months. Like anything, guys, I'm not just a fashion unbox and reviewer. Everything I review, I try and I put it really to the test on the road. I travel around the world, and Ledbury shirts certainly held up. I'll give you some tips and tricks. We'll get into the details of the styling, like this navy gingham dress shirt I'm wearing and I absolutely love from Ledbury. I'll talk about the founders, the company, and a little bit about what you need to know before you make your first order, or if you're going back to Ledbury based on my recommendation, seeing what I like and what maybe I don't, some tips and tricks on that too. So let's get into the show. All right, first, guys, let's talk about the company. Let's talk about Ledbury and the founders. Their names are Paul Watson and Paul Trible. I think Paul Trible's on the left. His name's there. And I was doing some research on these guys, and I'd bought their shirts for a while now and wore them, and I had no idea what their story was. But in researching them on their website and then doing a little Wikipedia action, it's pretty clear why they're good at what they do and why I like their shirts. And I'm going to talk about why and differentiate them a little bit from maybe Charles Tyrwhitt and Proper Cloth and some others if you send some questions down below in the comments as well. If you have a question about a dress shirt, I've probably owned it, worn it, and either loved it, kept it, or sent it back. But back to Ledbury. Really interesting story. These two were studying finance at Oxford back in 2008 when the world's largest bank and Lehman Brothers, the largest financial investment firm, collapsed. And if any of you were around during that time, it was wild. I'm old enough to say I was a working adult. I was about 5-6 years out of the military, actually only 3, out of the military into my professional civilian world. And at that time, I had no idea about really fine dressing. But these guys did. They'd been around it in London attending Oxford, and they had a passion for clothes. And with the financial crisis that hit after 2008, it was not a good time to be graduating and looking for a job in finance. So these two leaned into their passion and lived what is rather actually a dream of mine eventually.
All of your wildest dreams will come true.
Is they, for about a year in London at Oxford, studied shirt making in the ways of Jermyn Street, the famous tailors of Jermyn Street in London. And hence begins the story of Ledbury, which they founded, they say, in 2009. So it was really right after they had this epiphany during the financial crisis, which shocked and changed the world forever. And it certainly changed both Paul Watson and Paul Trible, because they founded a fantastic company that makes near custom online dress shirts. I'm going to talk to you now about my experience, what I love about them, what I change, which isn't much, and give you some recommendations. All right, let's talk a little bit about the shirt I'm wearing right now. This is the Navy Kent Gingham custom shirt. Now, you'll see the price, $135, and I think that's what I actually paid for it a little bit over a year ago. But now they do multi-buys. I know they were not doing multi-buys, so I'm glad we're pointing that out right now. I believe and I know this is for 3 shirts, which is really hot right now.
So hot right now. Cancel.
There's clearly a lot of competition, which is great for us in dress shirts. And so Ledbury, they're one of the last ones that I saw going to a multi-buy. That is an option, and you can return these shirts anytime you need within, I think it's 6 months. I'm going to double check that in the notes and we'll get to it later. But this is a fantastic opportunity because when I first ordered, I had to order one shirt. It wasn't this one. I ordered a fantastic shirt and they nailed it. I did a 34.5-inch sleeve, 17-inch neck, stuck with my standard measurements, and went with the extra slim, which still, I'll go back to the main camera, still gives me quite a lot of room and comfort to move. So I'm fairly fit. I've lost some weight over the last couple years.
He must work out.
But extra slim still leaves a lot of room, and you'll see it now. I'll put up some pictures that include video with this shirt, and it's absolutely fantastic to wear. This one and the others, you can move freely. You can absolutely wear this with anything. They style really well. Of course, navy gingham is going to go with just about anything. And of course, I've got some linen in here, other jackets with other shirts from Ledbury that we can see, and I absolutely love the clothes. Going back to ordering the navy gingham or any shirt you want, pretty standard. Let's walk through it. You've got many different options for colors. This one's loading up a deep blue. I might have to get this. I don't have it. And of course, then if it's not sold out, we'll go back to another one. This is another Kent gingham custom shirt, a light blue version of what I'm wearing. So you've got the different fits after you pick your style and color. You have many different, so you've got 4. That's rare. Typically, these dress shirt makers have 3, like a slim, tailored, and classic, and maybe an athletic for really big. Fantastic option, though, that you've got a 4th. So 4 different, generations of fits going up from extra slim all the way to classic, which is going to give you, bigger guys especially, a ton of room and comfort. You're going to look fantastic. Moving down to collar size, a huge thing. If you don't know this, make sure you know your collar size as well as you can before you order a shirt. And you want to make sure that you can comfortably, button it. And one of the things I realized with Ledbury right away is that I could button my upper button on my collar for a tie very easily and comfortably. And that's not always the case in 17-inch necks, which I have almost always been. All right, so now moving on. You've got your neck size locked in. This is huge, and this is a differentiator between Charles Tyrwhitt. But what they don't have is sleeve lengths in half-inch increments unless you pay extra and they call it custom. And that'll take the shirt on Charles Tyrwhitt out of the multi-buy option. Here at Ledbury, you don't have to worry about that. And this is great for me because I'm typically, if I don't have a half-inch increment, I've got to go up to 35 because you can't have a sleeve that slides way back, way back when you move your arm. So this is a 34.5 with Ledbury. See the stability, Even at this angle, it's hitting my wrist knuckle. That's critical, When you bend your arm, you need to cover the wrist knuckle with your dress shirt. And here with Ledbury, because I have a half-inch increment option, which is the first one I tried, it fits perfectly. I don't need the half-inch, and I've washed them. They didn't shrink. Of course, I wash cold and I hang dry. I never put my dress shirts under heat, no matter what. That's what shrinks. Hot water, but especially drying with any kind of warm, or dare I say hot temperature, you will shrink it. Now the collar options. This is where they're competing with proper cloth in a really strong way, is they're offering multiple collar options. I almost always go with the Ledbury Insignia collar because that's the one in the picture. I love this semi-spread quint collar option, but you've got a mid-spread dress, you've got a more spread out wide, which some guys like, and of course, check out below, I'll put a link to my different collar style video and show that I did where I talk about these in detail, but you've got all kinds of options, including the hidden button, which is big with the tailor store, and I've got a show coming up with them. You've got these different measurement options, a few extra steps, or I'd say extra details that Ledbury gives you, extra options, so that you can get closer to a true custom fit in a dress shirt, which is really nice and something that doesn't require you to go in and get measured or measure yourself, which is always tough. So after going through this online ordering, I had a great experience with my first shirt, kept it, didn't have to make any adjustments, and of course, as you can see, I ordered more and I wear them all the time. Of course, you've got all these different designs and patterns, but of course, you've got simple light blue and white twill that go fantastically with my suits and ties and just look great and are versatile anytime you need to pack a couple shirts that will go with whatever jacket or suit, blazer you pack, or whatever slacks or shoes, And then, as you can see, they get a little more aggressive and exciting with the seasons, like a couple of these spring dress shirts that I ordered recently and I've had a chance to wear a couple times, and they are by far, with like these linen jackets you see here, the most complimented dress shirts I've ever worn. These recent spring 2025 designs that they launched in their dress shirts, guys, check those out for sure. They come highly recommended. I absolutely love them. An absolute must that I love too with these shirts is the double button. You can see it here, option right on my cuff. If I can't customize the cuff measurement, then I need 2 buttons. And some of these companies they get so carried away with custom. They want your measurement, they'll take it, or they'll give you the option to make it a little smaller than standard, like Charles Tyrwhitt does. They don't want to give you the option of having the second button. Why not? Right? Because I typically have my watch right on my left hand, so I have one button, and then sometimes, I didn't for the show, but sometimes I want to have the option of buttoning to the second button on my non-watch wrist. I think for anything that's not exactly custom and measured by a tailor, a dress shirt maker should do the double cuff buttons. All right, let's talk about the lowered second button feature. This is simple brilliance, because I'm in an industry and in a lot of environments. I don't love it, but I'm wearing suits, jackets, blazers, sport coats without a tie. And so by lowering this, you get this perfect V-neck, and they talk about it on the website. It's really cool. I'm totally blown away by that extra step, and I think it does, for some of us, make it worth paying a little bit more for a Ledbury shirt over some of Ledbury's competitors. And actually what I've noticed too is it really holds nicely if you want to let some air in and unbutton even the second button. Fantastic feature that they take the extra step. There have been questions, you go into forums where people are worried about it. Trust me, it is a perfect move, especially when you're in an unbuttoned category. Okay, there's only one negative, and it's a bit of a nitpicking thing for me, but I know some of you will agree. I can't stand plastic collar stays. I just don't like it. Especially if I pay over $100 a shirt, send me metal collar stays. Come on, Ledbury. Let's make that change right now. All right, guys, that's going to close it out for Ledbury shirts. Check out my link to my article below. I have written about these in more detail, these shirts from Ledbury, and I can tell you more about them in the article, but I wanted to cover this quickly. I hope I did. If you have any questions, please enter them in the comments below. Read the description for links to the shirts that I featured in the show. And of course, please, guys, like, subscribe, hit the alerts button so when you know a show comes out, you're going to get it right to your phone or your computer or your iPad or whatever. I really do appreciate the support. And sometimes I forget to remind everybody that 10% of the proceeds that I get from the show, whether it's through the few affiliate links I have or as I grow the program here on YouTube, 10% is going to Meals on Wheels, a charity I'm very active in. I absolutely love it when I get a chance to deliver meals to people that are less fortunate and depend on Meals on Wheels to eat. Please know that the 10% in perpetuity, guys, forever, is going to our friends at Meals on Wheels. It's been a great show, guys. Really enjoy it as always. Again, thank you for tuning in, and stay prime.